devil's advocate.
Go ahead.
But what if knowing giving these direct cash payments back to Americans will help them, right? So aren't we being cold to these people by not helping them through this economic crisis? Aren't we making life worse for them and making life tougher for a longer period of time if the government's not there to help them?
If you give
out?
them $1,000 a person and you quarantine them in their house, what the heck are they going to do with that $1,000? Use your heads. So we're going to give people $1,000 and you're going to quarantine them in their house for a month. Kids can't go to school now for a month down here in Florida. They're shut down, right? So you're going to give people $1,000, which, by the way, you're literally taking food off their table for 4 weeks right now for a lot of these cases. I lost 3 events, 3 big conferences because of this. I can't get that money back. Your $1,000 ain't nothing to me. By the way, it's $1,000. It's $1,000. Bro, most mortgages are more than $1,000. You crazy? We spend $1,000 in groceries a month for my kids. Around that, right? I tithe a lot. You know, like that doesn't help me. So you're going to quarantine me, keep me in my house, and then give me $1,000. What am I going to do with it? I mean, use your heads. It's not your job. The real question should be not giving it back to me. Why take it from me? If all you're going to do is help other people with it, why can't I help them? Why can't I be? And we are benevolent, dude. Our church is very benevolent. I'm pretty darn benevolent. You're pretty darn benevolent. You give a lot of money, don't you? And people are like, well, most people won't. How do you know? Have you met everybody? Do you even know the members of Congress and the president and the Senate? Do you know the Supreme Court? Have you met them before? And you're trusting them with this whole system, which, by the way, most 3-letter organizations have no accountability. They're not accountable to anybody. IRS, who are they accountable to? Lois Lerner would have continued to get away with it if the people didn't rise up against her. Mm-hmm. And she got busted, right? Nobody's holding them accountable. Who's holding them? They had to pass a VA Accountability Act. Listen to this. The VA had to get a bill passed to keep them accountable, which means they weren't accountable, right? So we're giving money to an entity that says they know what to do better for you when they really can't even manage their own checkbook. That's the question that should be asked. Not that you give me back my money. Let me keep my money so that I can give it to other people as I see fit. Remove the restrictions from the people and let them have freedom so that they can go help their fellow neighbor. I can promise you this. If the cities had these types of coronaviruses and we were back the way that we should have been, we would work on our own cities to try to help contain the virus and contain the people. And we would have people watching and having the hospitals. Like if we could pay for it ourselves we would be better off doing that.
There was a story that compared back during the Spanish flu. I believe it was Philadelphia and St. Louis, and they had completely opposite reactions to the Spanish flu. The mayor of Philadelphia basically said, I don't care. We're having our parade. We're having our get-together, our gathering. The mayor of St. Louis said, we're shut down for a week. We're shutting stuff down.
For a week?
For, I don't remember how long, a week, 2 weeks, whatever. And you found that the death rates between the two cities were completely drastically different. You had a very low death rate in St. Louis and a very high death rate in Philadelphia. Now, what we're talking about is a city decision. We're talking about a county decision.
Yes, which is completely different.
That's completely different. And I think one of the things that we as constitutionalists, not you and me, but constitutionalists in general, have to point out the difference is there is a difference between local government and a federal government. A local government knows its city and knows its citizens well enough that they can decide for themselves, what are we going to do to combat this? Whereas federal government becomes a very forceful, coercive issue. All of a sudden, you have military troops roaming the streets, making sure people aren't coming out of their houses.
Yeah.
With a city, you're policing each other as neighbors and as citizens.
Yeah, and people don't realize in the local government, like the sheriffs have a ton of authority.
Yeah.
They can resist unconstitutional law.
Absolutely.
And
we saw it in Virginia.
Saw it in Virginia where the sheriff stood up, dude, and it was awesome to see that, they know their authority, right? The second thing is, if you don't like what's going on in your city, it's you can run for the ballot to change things, right? And it's way easier to win a city election than a federal one. So we're trying to change from the top down. We have to change from the bottom up. Like we have to have our authority in the cities, the counties, the states first. That's Amendment 9 and 10, man. You know what I mean? The states were given rights respectively. Anything not written in, and this what was it, Roosevelt or I can't remember who it was that had that doctrine of if it doesn't say it in the Constitution, that means we can do it. Bad doctrine. No, that's not how they intended this. They wrote specifically enumerated rights. Matter of fact, the preamble to the Declaration was a declaration of the Bill of Rights that basically said so that these powers would not be misconstrued. They wrote specifically the Bill of Rights that the government couldn't touch. Doesn't mean you start going to touching other things. These are basic and inalienable rights that God gives us, and it's pretty expanded. The federal government the Constitution gave the federal government 3 different branches, right? There's 3 different branches. In those specific articles, it says what they can't do. Really, this is their job. This is what they can't do. This is what they can do. That's it.
Yeah.
And then, but it didn't say we couldn't in the time of a crisis. No, that's not how it works.